As I'm sure we all know, Pokemon sure loves itself a convoluted mechanic or two. From the age-old mystery of how to make Pokeblock, to finding Mirage Island on just some random Tuesday. Heck, Unova made getting some of its event Pokemon almost as cryptic as finding the Reggies. But if you played the Sinnoh games as much as I have, you know exactly which mechanic takes the cake for unintuitive Tauros manure. Ladies and gentlemen, the Honey Trees, and why no one misses them, not even a little bit. So, what are these honey trees? Honey trees are special yellow trees scattered across the Sinnoh region. There are 21 of them in total, most of which hanging around Mount Coronet. To use them, first you have to slather some honey on them. Once they're slathered, you have to wait 6 real-world hours for the tree to start shaking. That's when you know you've got one. Additionally, the more violent the shaking, the more likely a rare Pokemon has shown up, though not always, sometimes it's a misnomer. If you leave the tree unchecked for over 24 hours, it will reset, leaving you out of a honey and a Pokemon. But what Pokemon can you get, you may ask? There are a grand total of 7 to 8 species of Pokemon that can spawn, depending on the version of the game you are playing. As seen here, they are split into different groups based on their likelihoods. Common fodder include Wurmples and Burmies, while rare finds can include Apom, Heracross, and this charming little devil in the middle. Who's that, you may ask? Well, it's Munchlax! Pre-evolution of Snorlax, getting your hands on this little munchkin is the only way to access this line in-game without trading. Or cheating. Combine that with its low catch rate, a 1% encounter rate can feel quite taxing, but seems doable if you're dedicated enough. Right? Well, there's an issue with that spawn rate. It's not even remotely accurate. First off, you can't just go to any old tree in Sinnoh and start grinding away. Only 4, yes 4 trees in all of Sinnoh can even spawn a Munchlax, and it's randomized at the start of every playthrough which is which. How does the game do this? By using this formula, of which I've ripped right from Bulbapedia. As complex as it looks, it boils down to using your trainer ID and secret ID to choose which trees are which. Your trainer ID is always available right on your trading card for all to see. But what about the secret ID, you might ask? Where do I find that?
That's the neat thing. You don't.
Nowhere in the entire game does it tell you your secret ID. It wouldn't be very secret then, now would it? Unless you know how to code or are really good at RNG manipulation, which I am not, you aren't finding it. So, in short, you have to go through the rigmarole of slathering a tree with honey, waiting 6 real-world hours, checking the tree and seeing if it's a Munchlax, then repeating this around 100 times to check for full odds, then repeating that entire process for all 21 trees in Sinnoh! That's 600 hours per tree if you don't get really stupid lucky. Again, the game gives you no way to know if you've got your tree or not. Hell, it doesn't even tell you about the time limits I mentioned earlier. Thankfully, nowadays, there are tons of calculators online that'll do this job for you, but I want to emphasize this for posterity. These are Pokemon games. They don't explain any of their mechanics to you, at least not in depth like, say, a Final Fantasy would. You've got to figure that shit out on your own. No official guide goes any deeper than the encounters, and maybe telling you Munchlax is extra rare or something like that. There is no way to tell a Munchlax tree from a normal tree, and you have to redo this entire freaking process for hours, and pray to RNGs as you just get lucky. So, I will ask one single time, how the fuck was anyone supposed to get this? Let me make this clear. Unless you can trade with a buddy or take a gamble with the GTS Russian roulette wheel of Y, you can't finish your Pokédex without it. You need Munchlax for 100% completion. Oh wait, the Wi-Fi is dead! And unless you're hooking up to a proxy server or something, you can't even try the GTS method anymore. So, in conclusion, fuck you, Munchlax! May you burn in hell and piss right off! And thank Arceus they never did a mechanic like this again. Except to redo it in the remakes. But fuck the remakes. Well, I hope the audio doesn't get too poppy and staticky. That's what happens when you have a cheap-ass mic that you're working with. Thank you all so much for watching. I greatly appreciate it, truly. If you can, drop a like, leave a comment, hit the subscribe button, heck, share this with a friend. It's all very, very nice. Credit to Bulbapedia for the encounter rate table and the formula for munchlax fuckery. And, if you want to, stay tuned for more informative nerd rage ramblings about video games. And maybe some other stuff too. I'm a woman of multitudes. Anyway, bye! Tell you your secret ID. It wouldn't even... And it's randomized at the start of every playthrough which is which. How does the game Oh my god. This is why it's hard for me to record audio. By using this formula, of which I've copied right off of... I copied. Fucking hell.